The fact, of course, that we had found this exclusive footage and spoke to the family who shot it, certain that that was Nessie. I was riveted to that, indeed. Indeed. There you are. You saw it here on this programme, The Loch Ness Monster. Now, this X Creature programme is at it again this week. They're trying to kill off Bigfoot, or Sasquatch. This is Bigfoot caught on film in California over 30 years ago. Or is it? Tonight, the makers of the X Creatures programme claim that the ape-like creature's appearance was nothing but an elaborate hoax. And this is how they say it was done.
This is our creature's starting point. All we've got to do is measure out 112 feet down here to where it's found on the first frame. Action! So, did you get it?
Yeah, I mean, I did.
And it's as simple as that. If you want to calm the world, you just get somebody dressed up in a big suit like that, or see Simon Keeling before he shaved in the morning. We now go to our Bristol studio. Paul Appleby is there. Paul is the producer of the X Creatures. So we've all been conned then, Paul, have we?
Well, I think that's a reasonable conclusion. The fact is that footage, there's only two options with that footage. It either has to be the most important piece of wildlife film ever, bar none, or it has to be a hoax. And in the past, a lot of the investigations of the story have kind of been in that middle ground. We've looked at it quite seriously. We went to a lot of trouble. You know, the camera that we used there was the same camera that Roger Patterson used in 1967. We marked out an area, a creek bed in California, not the same one actually, but a different one. And we basically reran the events. And the thing that's odd about it is how close they were to the animal, because we know a certain amount about encounters with animals, certainly filmic encounters with animals in the Natural History Unit. So that was the thing that interested us, and that was the kind of the reason for recreating that. The suit is nowhere near as good as the suit that was built in 1967.
Well, tell you what we'll do, Paul. We'll run both those tapes again. Now, first of all, this is the old one. This is the one that was shot in the 60s. What about the gentleman who actually shot this now? What's he saying nowadays?
Well, there were two guys there when this was filmed. One was doing the camera work. He's a guy called Roger Patterson, who very sadly actually died in 1972. He was accompanied by another man, a man called Bob Gimlin. Now, Bob Gimlin had never seen a Bigfoot before, had never seen a Bigfoot footprint before this day. And he has maintained for 31 years that what he saw was real. Indeed, there was something that walked across that creek.
Right,
but
we're now
he's
seeing
not
what
so sure.
you got to walk across the creek there, and how do you think the two compare?
Well, the fact is that their suit is much better.
Yeah.
We did this in one afternoon. We kind of knocked it off using a hired suit from a company in LA. But the point really was to show how close they were, and how if you use the same camera in the same situations, the fact is it's very difficult to get a shot that's actually as wobbly as the one that Patterson recorded in '67.
Now, this X Creatures, I have to say, I've been watching it every week. It's a tremendous series. But do we not need a little bit of mystery in our lives? I mean, why do people like you need to go around debunking all these things?
Well, it's not really a matter of that. The fact is that I'm a romantic. I love the idea. The reason I work in natural history television is because I love animals. I think they're fabulous. At the end of the day, though, there are rules of biology, and those rules of biology will push stories in a certain direction. That's true of Loch Ness. Loch Ness can't support a resident population of plesiosaurs. That's what we saw last week. And in a similar way, if there were thousands of 8-foot bipedal apes walking about North America, it's reasonable to think that somebody would have shot one by now, somebody would have got clear stills of one. You know, people would have brought them in. We would have had contact with these animals.
Yeah, but okay, we've heard what you think doesn't exist. I mean, is there anything of mystery that you think has a reasonable chance of existing throughout the series?
Well, the two that are coming up, the last two, look at big cats living in this country, and there's certainly evidence that there are exotic big cats living in Britain. And the final programme is about an animal that you may not have heard of called the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger. Now, this was an animal that was declared extinct in 1936 when the last one died in a zoo in Tasmania. But there have been reports coming in ever since then. And there is still a chance that certainly they survive way beyond 36. There's still a very small chance they might still be there. But at the end of the series, there is a romantic aspect to it that says this was a real creature. This was real flesh and blood back in the 30s. And maybe it could still be out there. This is the view both of Chris and me. I mean, we love the romance of these stories. And really, in a way, the Bigfoot story and the Loch Ness story is designed to just put a marker up there and say, maybe there are some other things to take on board. Frankly, if somebody walked in tomorrow with a dead Bigfoot, I'd be the first one to say, yeah, I was wrong.
Or sent you a lot of videotapes or pictures in the post to the BBC in Bristol. You'd have another series out of it.
That'd be great.
OK, Paul, it's been great watching the series. Thank you very much indeed for joining us this morning. Paul Appleby there, the producer of The X Creatures, BBC1 tonight, 7 o'clock.